Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Good Girls Get Rich podcast. I'm Karen Yankovich. I am so excited to introduce you to our guest today. Actually, I don't need these to have a conversation, and I want to be able to see you, right? If you're watching me on video, if you're watching me on audio, you got to go to my YouTube channel to see me. A lot of the work we do is strategy, right? I love strategy. I love LinkedIn strategy. I love to help you build your strategy, but there's so much identity work that happens as you're transforming your life into whatever the next chapter is, that every single thing that I teach has like a mindset component to it. I'm calling it mindset, but it's more than mindset, right? Because what I find very often is all the women that I work with have these beautiful, big ambitions, and their energy doesn't always match their ambitions, right? So I can teach you strategy all day long, but if we don't address that, it's so much harder. It's so much more work for you. And I want you to have success. So I'm so excited because I don't do this often enough. I'm so excited to bring on Summer McStravick onto the show today, because that is what she's all about. She's all about energy. And if you haven't listened to the episode with Morgana Ray, I'll drop that in the show notes. Summer heard the episode with Morgana. I guess they're friends, and said, oh no, I like this. I need to have this, being on this conversation. And I am so down for that, because I think that this piece of it is often the missing piece for so many of the women that I work with to achieve that level of success that they want to work with. So I'm going to bring Summer in now, and Summer and I'm going to jump in and introduce you to Summer. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Thank you.
I'm so happy to have you here today.
Love talking about this. So I'm excited.
Me too. All right. So let me read your bio so people get a little bit of a sense of who you are, and then we'll give you the formal stuff first, and then we'll dive into all the good stuff. Summer McStravick is a personal growth coach, author, podcaster, and creator of Flow Dreaming, an energy technique for manifesting, healing, and growing inner emotional strength. Her books and podcasts have been used worldwide to transform people's inner emotional landscapes as well as their external lives. Her latest book is called Stuff Nobody Taught You, 40 Lessons from Me, School to Help You Stop Being Miserable and Start Feeling Amazing. Summer's been teaching flow dreaming for 18 years. Previously, she worked for Louise L. Hay for a decade, helped her create HayHouseRadio.com, and you can find Morgana at flowdreaming.com or through her podcast, Flow Dreaming. I am so excited to have you here. I can't wait to have this conversation.
That's wonderful. Yeah. Every time I hear that bio, I always think I did all that. Oh gosh, I forget.
Right.
You get to a certain age and you're like, oh yeah.
Right. Can I just tell you that is a common theme in a lot of the work that I do, because a lot of the work that we do is we help women we help them kind of craft their personal brand as they're stepping into their next chapter. Right. And a lot of times they're like, especially like we'll help them write their LinkedIn profile. And a lot of times I look at that and go like, I feel like I'm bragging. I'm like, girl, you did all this. Like, I'm not making this up. You did all this stuff. We're just going to own it for you now. We're going to help you own it and really kind of just step into, the world with the power of everything you've done in your whole life, lifting you to the place you are today.
Yeah. Yeah. That's funny. One of the exercises that I often give to my clients, I work with a lot of, obviously, mostly women, and many of them around their 40s and 50s, sort of, similar to me. And when they reach that ceiling, so I call it a ceiling, that we all bust through multiple ceilings in our lives of what we can achieve, what we can attain, how much money we can have. And one of the things that helps, an exercise that I'm just going to jump right in with it.
Yes.
You mentioned it kind of feels like you're bragging. Oh my gosh, we women, we have such a hard time bragging. Yet we see our counterparts, usually fellas, and they're easily like saying, oh, I did this, I did that. And we don't think twice about it. Right. So when I'm leading a group of women, sometimes we'll do an exercise, which I call the hot brag.
Oh, I love that.
Oh my God, it is the toughest exercise you could possibly do.
Oh, I
make them go to the front of the room and I say, I want you to do nothing but brag about yourself for 5 minutes and go. And yeah, it's like silence, like
5 minutes must feel like 5 hours.
It does. It feels
wow.
The idea behind it is for you to own what you've already done, and not only that, but own what you will do. So you brag about what you've already achieved, So like, I am the best mother ever. I have contributed, thousands of hours of my life to my company. Their success is completely, based on what I have given them and how I shifted everything. I've been written up in magazines. I can help you and you, and like, and I'm like, go. And if they slow down, I say, hey, and didn't you get interviewed on that major magazine? And they're like, oh yeah, I did. And they haven't yet, but that's okay, because I
Right.
want them to get into the
Right.
energy and the space
Yes.
of,
Oh my gosh.
and you can't get into that space until you actually claim it in some form. We all think it up in our head. Oh, I want to be this. I want to be that successful. I want to make $500,000 this year. But until you say, I made 500,000 and I blew past it. Not only that, now I take all my friends and my family on vacations every year. We did all the Disney cruises, and I'm like, yes, brag, tell me more, tell me more. And then the whole room gets very excited because, we're all like, ah,
Oh my
but it tells
gosh.
you how hard it is for us to just go in and let it rip. Anyway,
It's
so
so
that's a fun
true.
way
And
to
that's
get
not,
started
and let me
here.
just say something. In my opinion anyway, that's not a diss on our male counterparts. We need to be more
Oh
like that.
no,
Do you know what I mean? Like
exactly.
we need
Yeah,
to be more like that. It's so interesting because the
absolutely.
my She's Linked Up Accelerator program is like our flagship program. It's where most of the people come into my world, and they come into the world for this LinkedIn strategy program. I need to learn about LinkedIn. I want to really, I'm stepping into this next level, and we help them with
Yeah.
press and all this stuff. But the very first exercise they get from me, the very first video is, it's a year from now. I want you to
Mm-hmm.
I want you to imagine the most amazing year you just had. Like the first thing I do
Yeah.
is take them out of the present, because they
Mm-hmm.
get stuck in this in this place of where, like, well, how is it gonna, I can't see how it's gonna happen. And I'm like,
Yeah.
forget how it's gonna happen. I have a magic wand. Like, don't think about how it's gonna happen. Right. Like,
Mm-hmm.
just imagine, just what if you're bragging about the best year you ever have. I want you to think about it, and I
Mm-hmm.
want you to tell me about that, because it's such a powerful thing to get us out of our heads, right?
Yeah.
And get us out of our
Yeah.
egos even, and just,
Mm-hmm.
well, tell us a little bit about your
Okay.
growth. So like you're
Yeah.
doing all this beautiful personal growth work now.
Mm-hmm.
How did you come to be doing this work?
I have a strange and wondrous background in my career. I'm not quite sure how it all came together, but obviously it's been sort of divinely guided. I spent 10 years in corporate publishing. I worked for a publishing company called Hay House. And
Mhm.
basically, Louise Hay was my boss. You Can Heal Your Life. She wrote that. And then I got lined up with Dr. Wayne Dyer. And so we did co hosting a podcast for 5 years, and was put in the position of being able to literally grow the entire audio division of this company. That means all their audiobooks. Some of the first online webinars ever back in 2005 is when we got started. Live internet radio, one of the first stations that then transitioned to all the podcasts that we know and love today.
Mhm.
So I was put in a position where I kind of had like a very nice fat budget and a huge staff, and said, go make something amazing. Go make something that will add,
Wow.
so much value to this world, and everybody will get to know our authors. And there was a strategy behind Hay House Radio. Obviously, it wasn't just to give free radio. It was so that all the authors
Right.
that they were traditionally promoting on book tours didn't have to leave their house now. The book tour
Right.
came to you.
Right.
So it gave me the experience of being able in my 30s to say, I have $1 million budget. What am I going to do with it this year? And what can I, how big, what can I hold? And, that was, I think, my first real big leveling up in my brain. Like, oh, they see something in me that they believe, and they're smart people, my bosses, they believe I can do this. That means
Mm.
I probably can do this, even if I'm not sure I can do this, but I'm going to trust their judgment, even if I can't trust mine. So that
Wow.
was a big shift for me. Second big shift, because I think we're really going into sort of the success mindset, like we're talking today.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Second big shift was toward the end of things, I ended up writing my first book, Flow Dreaming. It was about a manifesting technique that I was privately and personally using and had been using for years. And word was getting out amongst all the employees at work. And we would go into the warehouse, and I would lead them all in flow dreaming sessions at lunchtime for like winning the lottery, because we all, chipped in for our lottery tickets and
Right,
stuff at
right,
work.
right, right, right.
Yeah,
We bought the
we
tickets.
never
Hold
won
on,
the
bring Summer
lottery.
in so we can, right, bring Summer in so that we can have a little extra juice.
Well, we all never won the lottery, but I feel like I won the lottery because I ended up getting a multi-book deal from Hay House, which is unheard of, to
Right.
give to an employee. That sent me down another, my next layer of shifting myself. Instead of being the person who was producing people like Marianne Williamson and Susie Orman and Abraham Hicks and all these crazy, wonderful people, I could be in the background putting the things together so that their messages got out and worked, right? Like putting the structure of it together. I felt like I know how to do that. But now I had to step out and say, oh my God, I am the one now who is in the spotlight. I am the one teaching. And not only that, but I get to judge myself against my peers. And I had
Wow.
to
That's a,
again.
yeah, not many of us get to do that, right?
No.
That must have been a
So
trip. That must have been a trip.
when you're going through things like this, you don't see it in real time. You only see it in hindsight.
Mm.
So I would step out onto the stage and choke up and think to myself, well, people seem to like this technique. They seem to think it's resonating. I mean, I'm getting a deluge of emails every day, and people are calling into my radio show, and there's something here. So my job, again, I'm trusting the audience and the world more than I'm trusting myself at that point. They see something and they want it, and they're reaching out to me. If
Ooh.
I hide and say, well, I don't know, you should really go talk to, Marianne Williamson instead, or Joan Borisenko, I wouldn't be trusting them. I'd be saying to them, you're dumb and silly for trusting me and liking me and wanting more of this. I didn't want to
Oh
do
my
that.
gosh.
So I had to go, okay, you're right. Let me show you what this is. Let me lead you into this. Let me now do a workshop with you. Let me now, start putting my own events together. Let me now start building a company. So I did. I started small. I had a website. I had 5 audio CDs back then.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I'd come home from corporate, and then I would spend the rest of the evening. I had 2 little kids at home, still toddlers, and I would pack boxes and boxes of CDs to go out in next day's mail. Well, obviously, something had to give. And in 2009, I went from having that big corporation around me to help me and promote me to only me.
Mm,
Third wave of how do I shift this?
right.
Because I didn't have seed money. I didn't have investors. I didn't come from Silicon Valley. I didn't know anything about that. All I had was my little savings and this brand that
Right.
had come up.
Well, and also the years of expertise that you came to this what'd you call it, third
Mhm.
wave, that you brought to this
Third
third
wave,
wave.
yeah.
You
Mhm.
brought so much expertise to that third wave also.
Yeah. So I call these ceilings. When we hit these moments in our lives where it's like Alice in Wonderland. She drinks the potion, she gets really tall, and then her head's kind of cricked over, and she's really uncomfortable in that, she falls in that well or something.
Mhm.
Anyway, she hits a ceiling, and ceilings are always, by definition, painful. I mean, it means you've outgrown the space.
Right.
So you're experiencing pain, and pain takes all these different forms. So one of the things I teach as part of flow dreaming is understanding the power, just the incredible inner power of creating and sculpting your life using emotion and energy and flow. So
Okay.
when you get the emotions of I'm frustrated, I'm stuck, I'm feeling abandoned by life or the universe, it's not helping me, I'm feeling alone, I'm feeling like there's more I should be doing, I'm feeling like my friend over there is getting success, why am I not being seen that way? All of these emotions, I don't look at them like, oh, poor you shouldn't feel like that. I look at them and go, oh, you've outgrown your space, and now you're feeling the pain of hitting the ceiling. This is great. This is life challenging you, saying, what are you going to do about this? What are you going to do about
Wow.
this? So another rule that I have in my work is once you've complained about a situation 3 times, that's it. You're done. You can't anymore.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, I love that. Complaining
Yeah.
doesn't do anything for us. I mean, we can acknowledge it,
Yeah.
we can acknowledge it. We
It,
can whine and complain for a minute,
exactly.
but then if we
Exactly.
don't get over it, we're just going to stay stuck forever. Yeah.
Exactly. So what happens is you're in a state of recognition. This isn't working for me. I'm not being seen, or I'm not breaking out, or I'm not hitting the income that I need. And you say that, we tend to stay in what I call a state of recognition for days, months, sometimes even years. We keep re-identifying the problem, but there's a moment when we say, I know the problem. What am I doing about it? I can't tell myself about this problem anymore. I have to shift from identification to resolution. Again, that is the first step in busting through that ceiling. Because as long as you're staying in those feelings and keep identifying them, you're kind of telling the universe, all right, we've reached equilibrium. I'm stuck and I don't know what to do. And please help me, but you're not helping me. So now I'm mad and frustrated. Okay, boom. Let's shift that. Another way to find out is ask your friends and your family, your partner, what do I keep complaining about? And they'll tell you. They'll tell you. So the definition for this, I call it lag time. Lag time is the time it takes for you to make the complaint, identify the negative emotion, and get to the space where you're like, hey, thank you for showing this to me. Clearly something needs to be done. All my sights are set now on how are we going to change this? What new and different things do I need to do? How do I need to see myself differently? What do I need to invest in differently? What have I been afraid of doing because I failed at it before, or I wasted money on it before? That's the curve that we go into. And that's where the ceiling starts to crumble ahead of you. And
I
it's sort
love
of like
that.
you don't know there's a blue sky up there. Like right now, I have a plaster above my head in my own home.
Right.
I
Right.
know there's a sky up there, but I sure can't see it.
Yeah.
So our whole goal is to get you to the spot where you can see things you cannot see now. And you have to start with this
Mhm.
trust.
I love that.
It's
And
there.
what I
I would
love
see it.
about that too, Summer, is that what you're doing is you're saying like, okay, going kind of taking a step back, like all these people that are getting this and I don't have it, right? Or all these things that I'm seeing. What that tells me is it's doable and I just haven't figured it out yet. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So it doesn't mean it's not just because it's not working for me at this moment doesn't mean it's
Yeah,
never going to work for me. Right. So your
exactly.
process is saying, acknowledge it, whine for a minute, and then let's put a plan in place to figure
Mhm.
out how do we rearrange these puzzle pieces so that
Yeah.
I am having the kinds of success, whatever success looks like, whatever you're looking to do,
Yeah.
that I was whining about a couple
Mhm.
days ago or a couple weeks ago. Awesome.
Exactly. Now, sometimes though, we don't want to do those things because we're encountering resistance. Otherwise, we probably would have already done them.
Mm,
So we have to look at the things that we have a lot of resistance to doing, or that we have already discarded as, oh, that won't work, or I tried that already. There is a mountain, a heap of things you've already taken off your table and set someplace else and said, oh, I tried that, or oh, I spent money on that, or oh, I just don't like doing that, or I don't like sales. I don't like making offers. I don't like bragging about myself and telling people what
right,
I'm
right,
actually
right.
capable of. So I encourage my clients, okay, we got to pull some of those things back on. I don't want you to feel resistance to them now. So, for instance, I'm going to like a real example here.
Yeah,
Like
please.
you work with LinkedIn, right? So
Hmm.
maybe a person has a goal and they're like, I am going to build my LinkedIn network. I am going to just kill it out there. I'm going to get all tons of clients. And they work and they work and they work and they work. And nothing is happening and nothing is happening. Nothing is happening. I would ask them the next question. Why, what are you trying to get all these connections for? Like
Yep.
what's the bigger reason? And they'd
Yep.
say, well, because I'm trying to build this consulting business, or I'm trying to build this coaching, or I'm trying to put this, this online course out there. And I need the right people to see it. Like, why do you need the right people to see it? Why do you need the course out there? Well, because I want to support my life and my family with income doing something that I think I'm good at and unique at. Like, why do you want to support your family? Why is it important to you to have something that you're good and unique at? Well, because then I feel like I'm reaching some sort of higher calling or purpose in myself. And why do you need to do that? Because if I do that, then I feel a sense like I've achieved what I'm supposed to be achieving here. And I've shown myself, my full potentiality. And what will that make you feel like? Well, then
Right.
I'll feel peaceful. I'll feel abundant. I'll obviously feel wealthy because if I'm doing that, I know that life will reward me. So really all the boxes will be checked. So I say, okay, what you're actually trying to do here is build a sense of absolute authority and purpose and knowledge in yourself that you are giving at your very highest level. And with that comes your time freedom, your money freedom, your safety and security, and feeling that you're able to take care of yourself and your family. Those are the feelings you're going for, right? Call
Yes.
those are your emotional endpoints. So I'm like, okay, great. That is what you want in life. That is where every morning you get up and those are what is guiding you. That's it. So now let's pull back and look at LinkedIn. I'm like, maybe LinkedIn is your route there.
Right.
Maybe it's not.
Right.
maybe it's not social media at all or networking.
Right.
Maybe instead you're supposed to be writing books and writing blogs and setting
Yep.
something. Let's try it. We don't know the right pieces and parts. So I want to shift around and find different ones that are now going to go into place. So
Yep.
oftentimes we go snip, 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 but you're like, but no, I can't let that one go. I've already invested $10,000 in coaching in it, and I've already invested 3 years of networking. I'm like, great. Maybe it'll come back around once you
Right.
find some other little pieces that are supposed to go
Yeah.
with it. It's not going anywhere,
Right.
but we've got to loosen you up. You're a stuck boulder in the road. So what can we do? And you're like, well, I don't want to do all these things. I'm like, let's find some things that you don't have resistance to, or let's tear down the resistance to doing it. And I
Yep.
always say you're either bracing or you're embracing.
Oh,
One frees
it's good.
you up. It goes, and this is what I call flow state and the path of ease. And one is where you're bracing and getting ready for whatever load of crap is about to fall on you.
Oh
That's
my
not how
gosh.
we build to the higher level.
I feel like we're starting to get to you're starting to lay out what flow dreaming means to us. Is that true? Is that what's happening here?
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
kind of going there.
Okay, good, good. Keep going, because I want to get there. I want to know. This is so good. You know, my if you're one of my clients, or if you've been a long time listener of the show, I do that exact same process. But I'm like, so that what? You want that? So, and I just keep saying till the end of it, till you can't answer the so that what anymore. That's what we're
Uh-huh.
focusing on, right? It's so
Yes,
that, all right, I want
yes.
this. So that what? You want this, and so
Hmm.
that, and so that. So and honestly,
Yeah.
I sometimes I feel their eyes rolling into the back of their head. Oh, here she goes. But it's important because
Hmm.
because that's at the heart of what we're doing. And I am not the least bit interested in doing this for myself or teaching my students how to force things. You know, I want to attract things. And we can be
Yeah,
doing that if we know why, like what the energy is behind what we want to attract, and then build the strategy, knowing that is truly the end game. So, so good. So good.
precisely.
All right. So
Precisely.
keep telling us more about this.
Well, okay. Yeah, flow dreaming is both a philosophy, it's a way of looking at the world, and I've been kind of sharing with you some of the pieces and the
Hmm.
terminology and the
Yep.
theory behind it.
Hmm.
It's also a technique. So it's sort of like yoga. You can go to the YMCA and take your yoga class and do your downward dog and feel all stretched out and strong.
Hmm.
But if you're really into yoga, you're going to study what yoga means and why you do these exercises and the connection and the inner energetic work that goes
Right.
along with it. There's a whole theory behind it. In flow dreaming, we do the practice, which is a very simple technique. It involves moving into flow state using guided daydreaming and strong, powerful emotion.
I love that.
You go in like 15 minutes, and it's something I teach like everybody from day one. I teach it for free, and I have for 20 years. Here's how you do this technique. It remodels you energetically, it remodels you emotionally. Now, the philosophy is you can make all these changes. You can quote, the biggest problem with manifesting is that most people manifest way too little. They manifest to the next step, or they shoot so high
Hey,
up that they
I'm just like
have
high-fiving
no
you across the country here.
connectivity.
Amen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So it's like, yeah, I just need to make $3,000 more a month. I'm like, okay, but trust
right,
me, you're going to get that 3 grand, and in a year, you're going to be like, it's not enough. Now
right.
I've got these bigger bills, and I'm like, we have a string of little goals. Like if we
Mhm.
look back in our life, there's always been a goal. If I could just get this, and then you know what? Usually you do. Your income right now is probably more than it was 10 or 15 years ago.
Right.
Probably because you have advanced, but it's
Yeah.
still not enough. I'm like, you're chasing a moving horizon. So, and the other opposite is, well, I need to make $2 million, by next year. And I'm like, do you feel an emotional connection to that? Do you feel powerful worth and ability? Do you know that you're going to do that 100%? And they're like, well, not really. I'm like, great. So we need to find the next ceiling, the next level, and then break that and break that and break that until you get there. So to go back to the emotional endpoints, or like you said, so but why, I think is what you
Mhm.
said.
So that, yep, so that,
Yeah, so
that
that,
one.
so that
Right.
you're going to notice, you probably already noticed that everybody eventually comes to a feeling in themselves. Our
Right.
everything we build, all of the business, all of the money we want to earn, the richness, like, good girls get rich, right?
Right.
It comes down to never being the money. It's what the money makes us feel like or the bad feelings that it releases that we don't have to experience anymore. There was always an emotional goal. It means all of our decision making, even as we build companies, is also coming from an emotional space. Even though we may say it's coming from an intellectual space. Well, I should try this strategy. I should, buy that marketing tool. I should, yeah, okay, great. Your brain loves to help you. And I call it the king is the brain and the queen is the heart. King is always going to say, I'm going to tell you what to do. You should only listen to me. I will never steer you wrong. Use your logic. We're going to make it happen. The problem with the king, though, is his ultimate goal is to keep you safe. And he's going to say, you probably shouldn't do that. Probably shouldn't try that. The last time we tried that, we fell off a cliff. I'm going to keep you, I call it the king keeps you in the fortress and says, out there, the world is scary and uncertain. Right here, it's safe. And that's why so many of us end up staying right where we are. And we don't move and we feel stuck. And we push, but something is always pulling us back. The queen heart in us, the emotional guidance system, is saying, I see green hills and pastures out there. I need to sing and dance and get out of this castle. I think that there's a Renaissance fair and I want to go visit it. We need to go there. And the queen says, there are feelings that are guiding me and telling me this is what I need in life so that I stay whole and lush and vibrant and don't dry up like an old husk of negativity and frustration. These two, once they get on board, rule the castle together. Has nothing to do with masculine and feminine or men or women, by the way. I'm talking archetypes here.
Yep.
Okay. So we go to these emotional endpoints. When we move into flow dreaming, and I'm telling you to do this practice, the energy emotional practice of it is totally different than meditation. In fact, I'm kind of still, after all these years, a pretty bad meditator. Because every time I try and clear my mind, I end up getting really excited and passionate about what I want to do and create and make. And then I'm drifting into that and I end up in flow dreaming.
I get that.
So yeah. So when you're going into flow dreaming, very briefly, I'm going to ask you to daydream with me. And think about meditation. You can do it on your own, or you can do it with a guide, like an audio guide, a guided one. So if you're doing it with me, it's a guided one. And I'm going to ask you to imagine something with me. What we imagine is always different, but it often has the feeling of, remember how I said that lack of resistance, that easy flow, bracing or embracing? So I say, what's going to evoke that feeling for you? How about a flowing river of light? How about a big, beautiful path that stretches on? Or because I love the beach and I know you love the beach, we're right on what I call sugar sand beach. Yep. On one side are flowing turquoise, waves of energy. On the other is just white, powdery sand that ripples with a kind of life and awareness. And I say, this is your place of creation. Let's find that path right along the edge of the sand and the sea. And it goes as far as you can see. And when you're walking it, nothing gets in your way. This is your alignment to everything working. Nothing getting in your way, no resistance. Can you find that feeling of that with me? So we go into this imagery. And just like when you daydream, at a certain point, you kind of forget that you're daydreaming. You're someplace else. Like you snap back, where was I? Oh, I finished washing the dishes. I didn't even realize. That's cool. Because I was someplace else. So that's going to happen. When that happens, you're actually shifting into a different psychological state called flow state. It's a very well-known, there's a lot of people talking about how to get into flow and, the neuro, hacks about flow state. For me, it's nothing that you have to get a neuro hack to do. You're already built for it. You've already got it. You shift into flow state, which is an expanded state. Now, if you want to get woo-woo with me, this is where I say, I'm opening a bridge. Oh, let's go then. Yeah. I am opening a bridge to the higher consciousness, like to all that is, to what I call consciousness that exists outside and beyond myself and my body. And if we all have a consciousness that exists both in us and outside of us, for me, the bigger philosophy is we all have these flows of being. Like our future is literally being put together second by second. And we choose what are the pieces that are going to be in that future. A lot of the opportunities that I've manifested, and like I shared earlier, came from the fact that I was constantly going into this flow and saying things to it like, I'm living my purpose. I'm doing my highest good. I'm making my biggest offers. The right people are constantly responding. I am helping in a way that only I can uniquely help. And it changes lives because I want that. Why? It makes me feel so damn good. It makes me feel like I can't do anything bigger and better here in this
Right.
life. And as a
Right.
result, I'm rewarded for it to a degree that I can do it for even more people. So reward me to the highest degree. So I kept plugging those feelings into this state. Now, what happens is it's like the universe is responding now. It's literally hearing me. So, on a physiological level, I am now front loading myself with feelings of power, of ability, of strength, of commitment,
Mm-hmm.
courage, confidence, knowing. That's me. Like I'm literally changing my body and my energetic self, my cells, my
Right.
brain, my neural pathways are now getting sculpted with this because everything we think becomes part of us, right? That's why
Mm-hmm.
they say meditation is so
Right.
effective. It changes your
Right.
neural pathways. So does this. The secondary layer is what I'm changing myself into, in my belief, the world is perfectly responding to, right? It's everything around me is a perfect mirror of what I'm making inside me.
Okay.
I want a big, beautiful company. If I want a ton of money to flood in, that's happening here first. I am rich as can be. I can hold, give me $1 million. I'll do such wonderful things with it. I would love to be a steward for that money. You can trust me, universe. If I have that ability, I will make magic with it. And I'll haul a whole bunch of wonderful people right there with me because I'll have that ability to do it now. And it's like
Uh,
making a promise, a commitment, a handshake with my
mm-hmm.
future and all that is. And now it knows. Invest in her, give or him, invest in them,
Right.
right? Because they're clearly showing me they're holding it and they're making it, and I hear it. So think of it like an energetic reverberation.
Mm-hmm.
And then the right people and events start weaving their way in. So not to get too deep into physics and quantum science, but even our conversation,
Mm-hmm.
part of it's precipitated on the fact that I sent you an email. But I
Right.
sent you an email because you interviewed my friend Morgana, who I've known for years and I adore her, and we think a lot alike. But think about how this had to happen. Think about the
Right.
braiding little ribbons of
Right.
energy
And I'm
that
thinking about
came
how I hooked
together.
up with Morgana and like all the things that happened
Okay.
before that, right? Because there's a lot that
Yeah.
comes to all of this together. Yeah.
Yes.
Which is
Okay.
an incredible, it's just incredible. Like when apply that to so many different areas of your life. How did I come to
Yeah.
be doing this thing right here, right now?
Totally. So you and I are now kind of, I call it ribboning, like braiding
Mm-hmm.
ribbons of energy, right? But for
Mm-hmm.
me, it's like, what's going to happen in the next 5 minutes, the next 5 days, the next 5 years? What
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling and creating right now is already stamping in, like carving into sandstone, wet sandstone, what I want my life to kind of fold in. And it will keep reading this with me. So you're part of this. And now I'm part of you, right?
Right. Right.
We're not going to go away from each other in my world for
Yeah.
pretty much eternity because you're
Right.
stamped into my existence and my experience.
I
So
love
I'm
that.
always looking for, I want the right people stamped in. I want the right
Oh my
experiences
gosh.
coming
That
day
what you
after
just said right
day
there,
after
though,
day.
the right people is so key because so many people, especially when they're trying to run a successful business, they think they need to be out there to all people. And that's when they burn out and that's when they spin their wheels and that's when they frankly don't achieve the kind of things they want to achieve. But when you shift your thinking and your energy to who are the right people. And that's why like even, the work that I do with LinkedIn, it's really about like LinkedIn's the platform. It's really about who are the right people and how can I show up on this platform so that I can meet those right people and start to build the relationships with those right people. So let me
Yes.
ask you this. You talked a lot about flow dreaming, about like the non-physical stuff to achieve your goals. Is there a physical component to this?
Oh, yes. So another aspect of this, by the way, this is all outlined in the book that you mentioned, Stuff Nobody
Hmm.
Taught You. I
Yep.
took this way of navigating life that for me has helped me be highly successful. And I wrote
Hmm.
it all down. I taught it, first of all, to private classes for 10 years, 10 seasons of classes, just went through this. But it's all there. So another concept that I use when building anything, whether it's a joyful family or a great business or money, action and pre-action, physical and non-physical. So the world teaches us to build things by doing things. Get a goal, move toward it. go to college, go to school, pick up a certificate, get a skill set, make phone calls, do all the physical stuff. And I'm like,
Mhm.
yes, you have to do the physical stuff. We're physical
Right.
beings.
Right.
However, we are both physical and non-physical beings in my way of looking at things, because we have to be,
Mhm.
because our entire universe is built on this idea of duality, up and down, forward and backward, light and dark. It's built on this principle of polarity. So to say there's only physical without non-physical is to deny the basic concept of polarity. Okay.
Mhm.
So you have a non-physical self. What are you doing to build and orchestrate and conduct your life from the non-physical side? So I call it creating a blueprint or a template, a non-physical template. So I say, great, you plot these goals out. You go, and I want you to bust your butt, do whatever, you have the energy to do to build what you want to build. But it's like building a house. You can throw all the lumber and all the construction people down and say, build me a house. And they'll just be like, okay, how big is it?
Right.
Where are the bathrooms going to go? And you'll be like, I don't know, just, we're going to like make it up as we go along. We're just going to build. But if you give them a blueprint, then they have something to follow. And then you get the gorgeous house you want instead of the weird, janky, messed up house with 14 bathrooms and no bedrooms. So when I'm flow dreaming, I'm doing the pre-action. I call pre-action and reaction, right? Physical work and non-physical work. I go into my flow and I'm like, this is what my life looks and feels like, or this is where we're going. These are the opportunities that I intend and expect to encounter. These are the emotional endpoints that I'm going to experience here. Bring in whatever is right for this, whatever is easiest, whatever is closest, whatever is the most potent and powerful, whatever it is I don't even know about, but it's there. I want it. That is all going in. The next day, I'm getting up, I have my to-do list, and I'm starting to do things. Now, some of these things are working, some of them aren't. And so I'm reflecting back and forth. The things that are working, again, old business advice, I'm doing
Right.
more of. The things that aren't, I'm going to test them. I'm going to keep pushing at the boundaries of them. At
Right.
a certain point, I'm going to ask myself, is the resistance I'm feeling coming from me? Like, this could work, but I just hate it. And maybe I need to change and start to maybe try and love it. What would happen? Or is the resistance coming from outside me, which is in my world, my flow, my future, all saying, this is not really your path of ease. This is not really the easiest way for you to do this. We have another way, but when you're done knocking your head against that wall, you'll turn around and see it. So I'm asking, which kind of resistance am I encountering? And how do I want to respond to it? If I have to turn around, I will drop it. And I'll say, I'm good dropping it. And sometimes it's a burn. I have
Right.
two concepts. I'm throwing all my concepts at you: burn time and burn money. Anybody
Okay.
who's building something knows, and I know from corporate,
Mhm.
sometimes you just lose $10,000. And
Right.
sometimes you just lose
Right.
2 years.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to fold something and say, didn't work. And if I cry over that, I can't move on. If I go to the next thing and say, well, I already failed and lost all that money, I better not spend that again, you will never grow again. So
Right.
I factor those losses in. I go, ooh, I just burned 10,000 on a fruitless endeavor. Walk away. I'm good. I'll do it
Right.
again. I'll try doing it again.
Right. 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 My guess is you probably got at least one or two little nuggets of wisdom from whatever that burning 10,000 is. So you probably
Yeah.
got something out of it. I don't, yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
So that's how I do it. I do action every day and I do pre-action every day. And another idea is, most of us are spending our days responding to everything that's going on around us, just kind of responding to all the physical stuff,
Mhm.
replying to the email, or maybe trying to initiate something because we're trying to make stuff happen.
Yep.
But it's different than programming the stuff to happen before it happens. Okay.
Mhm.
That's the non-physical aspect. The physical stuff is just you churning through your workload, churning through the initiatives, etc. The non-physical is saying, I'm feeling this before it ever comes into my life. I'm giving life a
Oh my gosh.
perfect blueprint
So
of what
important.
I want.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I do both every day.
Yeah. And from a like, left brain standpoint, I guess I'd say, I actually sometimes I refer to that as like we've heard many years, dress for the job you want, right? It's that same concept, right? It's the same
Yeah.
concept. I'm not asking you to make stuff up, But I am asking you to kind of put that energy out into the future of what it is you want to be and do and have, and start to feel
Yeah.
as if you're being and doing and having it. Just like if
Yeah.
you were looking for a job, you'd be dressing for the job you want. You have to start showing up as that person so that you can start, okay, so this is going to take us to the next place I wanted to go, so that you can start manifesting the things you want, right?
Mhm.
So let's talk about manifestation for a second, or for
Yeah.
more than a second. Tell us a little bit about manifestation, and how do we have a conversation about manifestation that doesn't feel like gimmicky, and because there's so much all over the place about it. You know what
There's
I
so
mean?
much
Like,
fluffy BS
there
about
is, right?
manifestation
Like,
out
and
there.
I,
Go
when
ahead
I
and say
remember,
it.
like,
Go
when the
ahead and
secret,
say it.
right? When the secret came out, people were saying, like, okay, so I'm just gonna go to bed and there's gonna be a bicycle in my driveway when I wake up. You know what I mean? And I'm like,
Yeah.
no. But I can tell you, if you believe in your heart of hearts that you're going to go to bed and there isn't going to be a bicycle drive in your driveway when you wake up, there isn't going to be a bicycle in your driveway when you wake up. You know what I mean? So how do
Mhm.
we take it from this all over the place concept to something that is more, you know, something we can
Yeah.
understand and we can wrap our heads around a little bit?
Yeah. For me, I've been kind of describing to you through this whole
Yeah.
discussion,
Yep.
manifesting.
Yeah.
Flow dreaming for me is this is exactly how I do it. So I always say I play the long game.
Mm-hmm.
There is no gimmick that will just close your eyes and click your heels together 3 times and voila, the first $10,000 check will land.
Yeah.
Um, what I try to do is build myself and sculpt myself over and over daily. Think of it like putting teaspoons of sand, on a beach. Every
Mm-hmm.
day I put a teaspoon. Eventually, within a year, that sand pile has grown. 2 years, it's huge.
Right.
What I'm doing every day is putting that into me, though. I am changing myself every single day. So, what the world is reading off of me and from me, both through my actual actions and interactions, but also energetically,
Mm-hmm.
emotionally, they call it capacity.
Right.
She can hold that. She can handle that. I see all the time people will get a lump sum of money and it'll be gone. It'll run out of their fingers. They're like, well, then I had a car payment and then, I had to pay for these medical bills and I'm right back to where I was. And I'm
Right.
like, yes, it will keep doing that. And we've all had that experience. If we get the
Mm-hmm.
thing and then somehow the thing goes away, it's like, how come I can't hold on to success? And a lot of us have had that in our careers. We have money and then we lose it. And we have money and then we lose it. We have a good job and then we lose it. It's like, why do I keep coming down? I call it a baseline. Why do I keep coming to that baseline? I'm like, because that's the level of water in your own personal well. That's your baseline. And everything will always sink to that level. You raise here first, outside stuff can now stay in alignment with it. Otherwise, you get big stuff out here
Mm-hmm.
and you try to keep it, but you're here, it's going to let go and come down to your baseline. So, your primary job is to increase what you're able. And so, this goes right back to the hot brag, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not about, faking it till you make it. It's about capturing and really understanding I am worthy of this.
Right.
I am this is in a realm of possibility. There are people who want what I offer. I have
Mm-hmm.
something of immense and great value, and I shouldn't be undershooting it. I shouldn't be under earning. I shouldn't be making myself, charge less because I'm worried that my clients won't be able to pay for it. That's not what I need to be doing, because if I'm linking up at that level with them, then in fact, I'm looking up at that lower level of client who also doesn't have money and I won't have money, right? I'm now aligning right to that
Right.
person. So I will never grow to the next level. So that's what we're always looking for is, for me, manifesting is constantly shifting up. It's like an old stick car. You go from first to second, you're like upshifting
Mm-hmm.
over and over. And you're going to reach the stuck ceilings every now and then that you're going to have to bust through.
Right.
And a lot of people will stay there for years, but some people, they've learned the trick. And that's what I try to teach. Here's how you don't stay there for years. Here's how you utilize this pain point to its greatest and most gorgeous advantage. Let's go. So
I love
manifesting for me is a long game. It's a process. It's about interchange first, that is then reflected by the kinds of activities you do outside yourself. And I am a little energizer bunny of work. I love to work. I worked over Memorial Day weekend, for God's sakes, because I enjoy working.
that. Mm-hmm.
So I'm always making sure, though, that the work I'm doing feels like, yeah, this is definitely bringing me to that next point. Ooh, that next level.
I love
So
that.
in
I
a
love that.
nutshell,
All right. So
Manifesting to me is so practical.
obviously we all have to buy your book, which,
Yeah.
I'm
Good start.
totally going to do. But tell us how else we can kind of start to dip in our toes into your world. How can we get to know a
Yeah.
little bit more about you and get to experience some of the work that you do?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I have levels of entry for wherever a person is at. I have totally free stuff. You go to my website, you can download 2 of my flow dreams, right away, start using them. I have a free tutorial on YouTube that really goes deeper into how to do this process. I have a podcast called Flow Dreaming with 780 episodes, all free
Wow.
stuff. For people who want to go a little further, I have something this summer called One Brilliant Thing, the Summer of
Ooh.
Prosperity. 5 days a week for 3 times over the summer, I'm getting together, bringing everybody on Zoom for a half an hour in the morning. We're going in there, and all we're doing is vibing hot, rich funds, money falling out of the sky, whatever
Who
size cup you
doesn't want
have.
that? Oh my gosh. Oh
Yeah,
my
but
gosh.
it's fun, right? I mean, for me,
Yeah.
creating money is easy and it's fun. And I know people are like scratching their head, like, really? But yeah, I've been working on this for 20 years, right? So I know how to do this. So
Mhm.
whatever, if you have a big goblet, you're going to get a big bunch. If you've got a tiny little teacup, you're going to get that much. But we're going to manifest money. So 5 days, it's free. Okay, free. June, July, and August. Go to my
It's
website,
free.
sign up. It's free. Yeah,
Wow.
I'm doing it
How do
for
we find
free.
that? You're gonna get me the information on how to find that because I'm gonna make sure we have that in the show notes. It might make me push
Yeah.
this show up a little bit. When does it start? I want to make sure we get the show out before it starts.
Oh my gosh. Well, it actually starts June 10th. But if you miss
Oh,
June, you
well,
can
I
pop
might
in
be able to get it
July,
out. Let me see.
pop
I
in
don't know. We'll
August.
see. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see
Okay.
how close we can
Yeah.
get to that.
Yeah. So we do this so you can spend 3 weeks of the summer with me, literally doing nothing, 15 times of strong, generative, juicy, just focused on if there is money knocking at my door that I can't see, bring it to me now. And I promise life, universe, God, I will do spectacular things with it. Like it gets pretty deep and juicy.
Good people do good things with money, and we just
Yeah.
need to have it, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So go to flowdreaming.com. And once you sign up to get my downloads, you'll be on my mailing list and I'll start emailing you the link to join.
Perfect. Okay.
Beyond that, I have a monthly program. It's called the Flow Dreaming Mastermind. It's like $97 a month and it unlocks, I have 36 courses and I do monthly workshops live with everybody each month. So you get all of that, including a course in there called Money Flow, which is really, really good, as well as connecting your gifts to money. I have a lot of courses that I've built over many years, teaching people how to kind of expand their skills, their job, their career, everything. So that would be the next great thing. And then of course, people can work with me privately as well. And that's for
Right.
people who are just like, I am
Right.
not joking around
Right. Help
anymore. I'm
me help
so
you.
ready.
Yeah. I love
Yeah.
that.
So that's the gamut.
Well, first of all, I know, like, I'm sure this is not, I love that Summer is creating this summer of manifesting kind of program. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
am so excited that you are now in my world, because I agree. And I have one more question for you because I cannot let you go without asking this question. What
Yeah.
was it like to work with Louise Hay and Wayne Dyer? Give us like a little bit of how, what that was like.
They're both strong personalities, as
I
I'm
bet.
sure you
I bet.
realize.
Yeah.
Louisa
Yeah.
was a firecracker.
Yeah.
By the time I encountered her, she was semi-retired. So
Okay.
she would be coming into the office and poking her head in all of our rooms as directors, which was kind of
I'm like
equivalent
just
to
imagining,
VP.
talk about, I'm like imagining sitting in your office and Louise Hay sticking her head in my
Yeah,
office. Like,
yeah, believe me, we all went like this. Hi. um, I remember her to be very generous with us. She could make you, feel like, are you living up to her expectations? It's like, yes, ma'am, I am. But that was a good thing, and that's what we needed. Wayne, I have some really funny stories about him. Being his co-host, it was my responsibility to get the show up and going, to do the introduction, to field the calls and kind of like just interact and, banter and kind of move things along and every now and then hopefully give some good advice as well. I would be sitting there about to go live on air and there would be thousands of people listening simultaneously.
right.
And I'm like, where's Wayne? Where's Wayne? Where's Wayne? Oh my God, Wayne's not here yet. Jesus Christ. When's Wayne coming? Literally. He would be like plopping down in his chair after I'd already done his introduction. And then he'd turn his mic on and I'd be like, well, hello, Wayne. He's like, yeah, I just got out of the beach. I was body surfing and, I'm sorry, I'm just sitting here in my wet trunks. And I just be like, oh my God. But it's a testament to the fact that one of the biggest things I learned from him is don't take yourself so gosh darn seriously.
I hear like living your life, live your life as you're living your business,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was him saying, I know the strength and power of what I can give people. I don't have to sweat it. I don't have to be over prepared. I don't have to wear a suit. He's like, I just have to show up when I'm needed and give. And the rest of it does not matter. So I've always aspired to kind of emulate that. I call it getting over myself. Like I just get over yourself. Every time I have a fear about, oh, am I looking right or good enough? Or how do I match against that person? Like, just get over yourself. Because if you're carrying that energy of too much self-doubt or awareness or comparison, I'm immediately dimming my flame. I'm immediately dimming my message. And I refuse to give into that energy and let that happen to me, because then I'm not giving my real gifts to the extent that I could. So there.
Awesome. Well, that's amazing. Thank you so much, Summer, for being here on the show. This has been great. I can't wait for my audience to hear this. I am going to try and fast track this so that it gets out. I looked at my schedule. I might be able to do that. My team might not be so happy about it. I'm like, put all that aside. We've already done it with this. But I think we can make it happen. I'm hoping, if not, we'll get into it. We'll get it close enough that we can benefit by a lot of that, because it just sounds amazing. It just sounds amazing.
It is.
And by the way,
hundreds of us get together
and amazingly generous as well. So, so thanks for offering that. Thanks for being here with us. And thanks for being such a bright light in the world.
Well, thank you. It's been wonderful, Karen. It's been a great conversation. I love when I'm talking with somebody who's of the same mind. It's just like, da, 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 da,
Yeah. I sometimes say, like, I think I'm the only person on the planet that says LinkedIn strategy, and let's talk about your third power chakra,
Yeah.
Right?
I always
say a lot of us out there having, approaching it from that perspective. But I will say this. So for those of you that are listening, if you're hearing this and you have not yet experienced what it's like to, I feel like people start in our She's Linked Up world with this podcast. This is the first step. If you loved what you heard today, certainly you need to get the book from Summer and start to experience her world. If you want to experience more of our world, please take a screenshot of this episode, share it on social media, tag me, tag Summer. We'll share it with our audiences so that we can kind of start to lift each other up, and we can all start to, introduce each other to each other's world. That is how we create that magnetic force in our lives and our business. And, reach out. There's pretty much no place that you can't go in any of my stuff that doesn't show you how to book a call with me or somebody on my team. Those calls are really just exploratory calls. Let's see what it would look like to work together. If we think it's a fit, we'll tell you what that looks like. Either way, I've got, so many things that we can share with you to help you get moving. So if you're moving into your next ceiling or hitting a ceiling, we need to talk. I'd love to see your name on my calendar, and I will be back here again next week with another episode. Thanks for being here, Summer.
Thank you, Karen. Take care.